guys. What's What's up, everybody? It is a late episode of Just in the Nick of Crime. I'm sorry for doing it so late. Today I just couldn't help it. I was gone all day. We had something occur that I had to deal with. And then I got home late. Then my in-laws were here and then they left. And so finally I sat down probably around 9 o'clock to finally start getting all this done, rushing to put it together. So it might not be in the best order as it could be, but it is going to still be a lot of updates. There was a lot today that Jane talked about, a lot of stuff that y'all are going to be interested in knowing. And then there's some other stuff that came out too that I'll probably put in tomorrow's recap because I just didn't have time to do it. Anyways, that being said, hello, my Instagram friends, TikTok friends, YouTube, and Facebook. Hope you guys are having a great night. For my TikTokers, please tap that screen. Make sure to hit that, get that thing up to 10,000. If you're new here, make sure to hit that follow button because you don't want to miss these updates. We're covering them every single day. Now, that being said, let's just get right into it, right? Because that's what y'all are here for. So the way that this was done today, just so you guys have a little bit of knowledge, is the way that I kind of put these notes together for y'all is there's 3 or 4 or 5, depending on the day, different sites that I like to use because they all report something differently. Sometimes they report similar things and you got to merge them and see what's new, what's not. And it can take some time. And tonight was so much stuff. And anyways, that order is not how I normally would have it, but it was what makes the most sense, I guess, from a timeline perspective. But it's all stuff that was said today. It just might not be in the order of which it was said. But here's what I will tell you. Going into this, there are a couple things I wanted to share with you. The first thing is that I believe prosecution wrapped up Jane's testimony today. All right. And just a little bit of kind of what we learned Friday for y'all coming in, just a like previously on the Diddy trial. Jane is the person who's on the stand. She was Diddy's most recent romantic partner, I guess what we can say, or girlfriend, whatever you want to call her. She was still with him up to the time that he was arrested. So she dated him from 2021 to 2024, testified that he falsely promised he'd spend quality time alone with her and dismissed her repeated requests to stop participating in his hotel nights. She said the Combs promised her things that she wanted, like date nights and quality time, but all he wanted to do was have hotel nights first. She would agree, but then afterwards, they would be too exhausted and spent the rest of our time sleeping, is what she testified. Bear in mind that she testified that the minimum time that a hotel night would take is 12 hours. Minimum time. She testified that having hotel night with Combs on her birthday in 2022, where she had to have relations with another man at Combs' direction. Jane and Combs had another hotel night in 2023, even though she was hesitant, and Combs promised her a romantic time prior to flying her to New York. Now, a few other things that you guys need to know. Jane said that she and Combs entered into a love contract back in 2023, which he agreed to pay her $10,000 a month rent as allowance. He is still paying for her rent even now, and her lawyer fees, by the way, just so you know, the lawyers that she's using to testify against him. Interestingly enough, we're going to talk more about that later. She also testified that he threatened to cut her off financially if she stopped participating in the hotel nights. Jane testified that she understood her job was taking care of him, being good to him, and making sure that he was happy, which included these encounters. She said his job was taking care of her financially. The jury has seen audio or heard audio from hotel nights in which Combs was dismissive of a request. I actually have some recordings that I'm not doing in this one, but I promise you we'll get them done tomorrow, possibly in shorts, because I was so late getting this one together. But we'll get them done tomorrow that you guys can hear some of the things in the way that he treated her and talked to her, actually in his own voice, stuff that was released to the public. The jury was also shown 15 photos that weren't released to the public that showed Jane with her and another man during hotel nights. Combs was present for all of these. Anyways, you get this. You talked about the alleged substance trafficking and usage. She talks about her hotel nights on her birthday. Also, the judge says, apparently the defense, and I must have missed this, it must have been, I'm thinking it's a second one. He said that he'll pick up the defense's mistrial motion tomorrow because the government plans to respond in a filing at some point today. I don't know if that happened. Basically, the defense team submitted a move for a mistrial over the weekend. This is the second time that they have gone for a mistrial, by the way. It was based on the testimony of Brianna Bongolan, which the defense attorney said is demonstrably false. So they moved for a mistrial on that. That's kind of the stuff that you guys need to know going into it for a recap on Friday. Thank you guys on TikTok for getting me to 10,000 on that. Appreciate that as well. So let's get into it. Okay. Let's get into it. So Jane, back on the stand today. She's got to be done by Thursday because she's got an international flight. My guess is Cross is going to start tomorrow. She has been an emotional wreck. I don't think that she's doing okay mentally with all of this, but she's doing her best to put her best foot forward on this and share all of these intimate details, which she doesn't really want to be sharing. She said she's being asked at the beginning of court today to read text message conversations that she had with Diddy. Last week, the court saw messages where she called him a pathological liar and said, quote, I can't get this image of you lying to my face out of my mind after he went from celebrating her birthday to taking another woman on a trip to the Caribbean. If you guys don't remember that or weren't able to watch the recaps last week, he said he was going to do something for her birthday, makes her do a hotel night, and then heads off with another woman for her birthday, right? Jane told Diddy that by dating him, she had deprived herself of romance, love, travel, and meaningful connections. She said, quote, this is about you finally treating me as a human being. Jane said Combs told her he'd make it up to her by taking her to Turks and Caicos. She desperately wanted alone time with him. But before they left, he made her engage in yet another hotel night. When they got to the archipelago, Jane said that she was happy at first, but then Combs brought in a male worker for yet more encounters. In October of 23, Jane and Sean Combs were discussing Combs' request for her to arrange a party with entertainers, quote unquote. The men paid to have encounters with Jane. At the same time, Jane said that she saw one of Combs' ex-girlfriends posting with Combs on her social media. She testified that she was furious that he was asking for a hotel night while she was with another woman. Basically, Combs is with an ex, texting her, Jane, like, let's do a hotel night while he's with this other woman. Okay. And I'm going to tell you, as we get more into this, I already said this last week, but I'm going to say it again, starting even today. A lot of this, y'all, is a copy and paste of what Cassie went through. Okay. And a lot of that, she didn't even realize how similar it was until Cassie's lawsuit came out. And again, something we're going to talk about here very shortly. So she was furious about that. And she said, quote, you got that girl next to you, so you figure it out. Combs responded with, you're the only thing that's going to put me at peace. Put me a peace, please. You're going to put me at peace, please. There we go. Jane responded, introduce her to P. It's not me. It's the entertainment that puts you at peace. Jane testified that P was a reference to an entertainer named Paul. Now, while Diddy, I'm sorry, my notes are kind of whatever here. At one point, demanded hit that Jane sent him an X-rated video while he was with another gal pal, right? While he was with another woman. Demanded that she sent him an X-rated video. She received messages from him pressuring her to send these videos of her, quote, being a bad girl, end quote. So cringe, y'all. She said she got upset and pushed back against the request because he was with another woman. And he said anyway, saying, you just do what I say, please. I'm horny. Do what I say. I don't care. I'm with another woman. Doesn't matter. Do what I say. I'm horny. This was in August of 2023, and these messages were shown. And she said, stop it. Don't say no to me, please, is what he wrote in a follow-up message. All right. Now, that being said, let me switch back to my other notes. That'll hopefully be a little more time done. And I'm going to send some. So I got some sketches today. We got about 9 sketches today. So you guys might have to remind me to change them if you're watching on YouTube. Kind of show you what some of what we got today is going on. So let me back up a little bit here because I'm kind of going back and forth on notes again. My apologies, y'all, that it is not as organized as I normally like it. I didn't have as much time to put it together as I typically do. But you remember, she dated him from 21 to 24. By the end of today, she detailed the pressure that she felt through their relationship to take part in these encounters with these male entertainers while Combs watched, filmed, or directed. These orchestrated events, which were called hotel nights or free costs, became more frequent as their relationship progressed, especially after April 2023, where Combs began paying Jane's $10,000 monthly rent. She told the jury that her relationship with Combs functioned like a love contract and that he threatened to cut her off financially if she stopped participating in the encounters. As I said before, sorry, I know it's a bit of a repeat. I understood that my job was taking care of him, being good to him, and making sure that he was happy. His job was to take care of me financially. And despite a brief break in their relationship from December of 23 to February of 24, Combs continued to pay for her rent and legal fees. And Jane confirmed under oath that he still pays for both to this day, both rent and legal fees, as of right now, as she is testifying against him in court. She also testified that the coercion extended beyond emotional guilt. In 2022, she said that she was instructed by Holmes to pick up substances in LA and fly them to Miami for him. She also recounted how during these hotel nights, he would run out of substances and call staff, including assistants, butlers, and security, to bring more. He gave her substances that would keep her awake to make it easier to participate in this quote unquote fantasy. At one point, she said that he requested she bring a package from his mansion in LA and that his chief of staff, KK, which is Christina Korim, reassured her it's fine, that she does it all the time. This was a little bit of last week as well. She said that throughout 2023, though, she began to repeatedly ask Combs to stop the freak-offs. On her birthday in 22, she testified that she arranged a hotel night where she slept with another man at his direction. Again in 23, despite her reluctance, he promised her a romantic getaway in New York, only to arrange yet another hotel night. She said, I wanted date nights. I wanted time alone. He'd always say, let's just do one hotel night first. But then we'd be too exhausted and we'd spend the rest of our time sleeping. In messages read aloud in court, Jane told Combs that she felt like he only kept her around for sex. I don't want to feel obligated to perform these nights with you in fear of losing the roof over my head. It's dark, sleazy. It makes me feel disgusted with myself. And he would testify. She testified that he would reply with statements like, girl, stop, or ignore her concerns entirely. In some texts, he would respond by telling her that he was sick or tired, and that the relationship was open and she shouldn't make it a problem. Basically just dismissing it, gaslighting it, whatever. In one particular emotional exchange from September of 23, she said, I wish we could chalk this back to when we first started dating. One night of fun became all I'm expected to do. He ignored these pleas instead messaged her to send X-rated videos. Like, hey, he's pouring her heart out, right? I wish we could just go back to how it was when we started dating. This was supposed to be this one-time thing that you kind of like threw on me. And all of a sudden, it's all you expect me to do. And he's like, yeah, whatever. Send me X-rated videos. Send nudes. And I told you what he said. Just do what I say. I'm horny. Stop it. Don't say no to me. She explained in court that she felt increasingly trapped emotionally, sexually, and financially. She described how Combs would love bomb her with affection and promises of romance whenever she tried to pull away, saying, quote, whenever he wanted one of these nights, the love bombing and the persistency would start. Despite telling him that she was not a adult star and not an animal, she said the pressure never stopped. It's been 3 years of making me have to F strangers, she wrote to him. I'm tired. My spirit and my soul are tired. I need a break spiritually and mentally. When she asked for space, Combs would retaliate emotionally, calling her a liar, accusing her of cheating, and threatening to stop paying her rent. Jay testified that one of her most traumatic hotel nights took place on October 18th, 2023, during what Combs called a sobriety party. Jane said she had asked Combs to stop taking substances, and he agreed to do a 30-day cleanse. But first, wanted one last night of partying. He arranged a hotel night in Beverly Hills that lasted between 12 and 18 hours. Remember, guys, it was all Miss pictures too. It was always 12 hours at a minimum. And again, if TikTok, if you can't see the pictures, you jump over to YouTube. And again, I might have a guest come on if she hasn't fallen asleep earlier tonight. So, who is physically there today? We'll see. Anyways, then during that encounter, she slept with 2 male escorts. Afterwards, she told Combs that she had thrown up. That's good, he replied. You'll feel better now. He then brought a third man instead and insisted that the night continue. Again, some of this is from yesterday as well. She said, or last week, just kind of a repeat, her reiterating it. I was just disgusted. I was repulsed. I was so mad at myself for doing that. I just deeply regretted that. The next morning, she texted Diddy asking him to deposit money into her account. When he didn't respond, she sent him angry texts about feeling used. Eventually, they got on a call. Jane said she expressed her rage over that night, and Combs offered to pay 3 more months of rent. She also, listen to this, though. This is kind of interesting. She told the jury that she texted him, you agreed to match my 2-year investment in this toxic-ass relationship. And she asked for $450,000. Match the 2 years like you said you would, like you said, and we're leaving each other alone. Don't call me. Don't text me. I'm dead to you, she wrote, explaining to the court that she was repeating something that Combs had said to her. In response, called her crazy and said the beauty is that we both don't have to do anything we don't want to do. Jane said she understood that as a threat to stop paying her rent. She replied that he was threatening her house for the millionth time. She also testified that she got a UTI and a yeast infection after the sobriety party, saying, "You got me sick." Now, at one point, and I don't remember if it's in these notes that we have here. I hope that it is, because again, today's kind of a little crazy the way it went. But at one point, I'll just tell you, she basically said, "Just bill me for the trauma." Literally, just bill me for the trauma. How much money do you need for your trauma? I shit you not. That was said. Okay. I kid you not. Right. Um, so she texted Diddy again in October. And so if that's a repeat, it might end up being a repeat later on. Again, she texted him again in October saying, again, "I'm not an adult star. I'm not an animal. I need a break. I've hit a wall." She told the court that that message meant that she didn't want to give her body to anyone else anymore. She testified that she was tired, spiritually broken, and emotionally drained. She said, "Sex," I'll just say it doesn't matter, it's late. "Sex is sacred to me, and I can't be used like this anymore. I just wanted to make you happy, but it's creating a war inside me. Hotel rooms, exhausting for days, brain fog, can't concentrate." Combs replied, "So we're breaking up?" Jane said she never asked to break up. She only wanted these marathons to stop. In another text, she added, "Spend the day with your family or your ex. I need time to myself." She testified that she stopped answering his calls and messages after that fight. Combs sent her an audio message pleading, "I wouldn't be calling like this. I need you, girl," followed by a message saying, "Can I please come over there? That's my house too." Jane said she didn't want to respond because every time she let him back in, she said, "I'd be right back into whatever he wanted." And that's how that kind of stuff works. You cut them off, they can't stand it. Like, they can cut you off, you just have to deal with it. But the minute you cut them off, the minute you don't respond to them, they're all over you, right? They're just right there, right? Then came a seismic shift. In November of 2023, Jane testified that she almost fainted when she read Cassie's lawsuit against Diddy. This is important, y'all. Listen carefully, okay? She said, quote, "There were 3 specific pages that were just what I was experiencing. There were 3 specific pages that were just what I was experiencing. I just reacted like, I can't believe I'm reading my own story." That was Cassie's lawsuit. She messaged Combs immediately after reading it saying, "I feel like I'm reading my own trauma. Even 2 of my own birthdays, you forced men on me. The sick part is you knew this was coming and you gaslit me and you made me feel crazy about the trauma I was developing, knowing you've been here before." 2 days later, he replied, "Call me on this phone. It's important." Then they heard recordings of calls between Jane and Diddy that were secretly saved from devices belonging to KK. One call, Combs said, "Just some kinky shit I thought we both enjoyed," and told Jane, "I need your friendship right now. You know you ain't got to worry about nothing else." Jane testified that she knew nothing else meant rent, another financial leash. On the call, Jane could be heard crying as she said, "Who's there for me when I close my eyes and I have these effed up things in my head?" She testified that she was referring to the flashbacks of those hotel nights. Later, Jane said she texted Combs, "You placed all these harmful men on me and risked my health. This was never love. I regret everything and all this dark, toxic shit that entered my life." Here we go. This is where I talked about earlier. So according to Jane, after the Cassie lawsuit dropped, Combs told her on the phone, "Charge me for your resentment. I just need you to get over this. I don't want any loose ends." She eventually texted him, $100,000 per year for 3 years we dated, $450,000 to move on from resentment and loss of potential income. He agreed over the phone. Later, however, he turned hostile, calling her a liar, an opportunist, and accusing her of blackmail. "I'm calling the police," he texted her. Jane replied, "I'm going to unalive myself. You used me and broke me. I want everything to go black." In court, she said that she meant it. "I hated my life. I wanted to die." Combs' only reply was, "Breathe, goodbye." That was it. That was it, right? She also said the Combs threatened to release these tapes of her, the S tapes of her. Same MO that he did with Cassie, echoing allegations made by Cassie. "I'm just going to show your child's father these tapes. I have nothing to lose." In December of 23, Jane and Sean Combs continued to communicate. About the relationship became even more volatile. She testified that after asking for money to compensate her for the trauma of their 3-year relationship, he exploded, "You're a liar. F you. I'm blocking you. Opportunist. I'm calling the police." James replied with raw desperation, "I'm going to unalive myself. You used me and broke me. I hate my life. I want to die." Sorry, I know I'm repeating some of this. Sorry, I didn't mean to put that on there. Talked about charging, Okay. There we go. Here it is. There's a couple other things in here. So then, in response to all of that, the breathe goodbye. There we go. That's where we were. In another message, she said, "You called me to charge you." You called me to charge you and even said lawyers would be involved. When I did what you asked, you spewed all your evil on me. You threatened releasing my tapes. You threatened to post them. You are psychotic. So I'm just going to show your. She said that he said, I'm going to show your child's father these tapes. I have nothing to lose. She then reached out to KK on December 28th, 2023. He threatened me about my tapes. He's been bothering me for 2 months. We broke up 2 weeks before the controversy. I'm traumatized. He keeps bothering me, invites me to fly out. The day he went from asking who I'm seeing to saying he's abandoned. When I reiterate all the trauma, he says I'm blackmailing him. She testified that KK called her shortly after. She was like, okay, I understand. Don't worry. Nothing's going to happen with these tapes. He's not going to do anything like that. Why don't you guys give each other space? Jane said KK also promised to hide the phones that contain the tapes. Then things escalated even further when Jane was contacted by a, quote, really big media company, claiming that they had acquired one of these tapes. She said that she fainted when she received the call and immediately contacted her lawyer. Jane explained that the tape had been recorded during a previous freak-off with a male escort named Sly, who tried to extort her for $10,000 in March 24 following the federal raids on Sean Combs' homes. Jane said that although the tape never came out, she never learned why. She told the court that Combs helped her lawyer up after Sly's threat and confirmed again to this day. Combs is still paying for the attorney who represents her at this trial, the trial that she's testifying against him at. He's paying for those lawyers. It's interesting. I don't understand the motive here. Interesting. Nevertheless, she then testified that after their final explosive text exchange in late December, she and Combs did not speak for several weeks. She spent January 24 in what she described as a period of calm and recovery. During that time, she launched an OnlyFans account where she posted suggestive content in lingerie and swimwear. She also took a trip to Las Vegas with friends, flying on a rapper's private jet and attending a dinner, a show, and a hotel party. At that party, she testified that one of the male entertainers who had taken part in the past hotel nights with her and Combs was there, sleeping with a woman in front of the group. Jane said he did not participate. She did not participate, but recalled flirtatious banter with the rapper that night. Did not name who it was. She also told the court that her finances had started to recover in January. She earned money from OnlyFans and said that a friend sent her $9,000 to help with living expenses. At the time, she was still living in the house Combs was paying for. Then, in February 24, Jane hears from Combs. He texted her that he had a dream about her. Jane replied because, as she testified, quote, I missed him dearly. And she told the court that she still loved him and longed for the emotional connection that they once had, even though she had been trying to rebuild their independence. Combs texted, I miss your smile, and asked for a picture of them pretty teeth, and then asked if she would be free for her birthday. Jane testified that she had mixed emotions. I'm a little traumatized from my past birthdays and what they ultimately led to at the end of the night. That's what she told him in messages. In previous years, her birthdays had ended in hotel nights, including one where she was directed to sleep with 3 men. Still, she agreed to spend her birthday with him in Miami. What do you think happened when that cycle began again in Miami, y'all? What do y'all think happened? Or sorry, when she went to have the birthday in Miami, right? I kind of just let the cat out of the bag because I'm tired. The cycle began again. Cycle begins again, right? She arrived. Combs had arranged a private birthday dinner with decorations and gifts. It was the proper birthday dinner that I always wanted. But the next morning, after drinking and taking X together, he asked if she wanted to see one of the male escorts from their past encounters. She said I was high, and I was like, okay. At this point, I'm so used to this being the outcome of whatever we're doing, I just accept it. Slept with the entertainer in front of Combs at his mansion. Afterwards, she and Combs spent a few more days resting in Miami. She flew back to LA. They testified that by the time she left, they were fully back together. Now, after rekindling their relationship in February 24, she testified that Diddy resumed a familiar toxic routine. Nobody's surprised by this, right? Is anybody here surprised by that? Because I'm not. I'm not surprised. Anyways, she flew to Miami 3 times. I want to pin this comment. Somebody just said something on TikTok, and I want to pin it if I can find it. Pin this real quick. Sorry, Dan. I want to pin that because I agree. For anybody who thinks, like, why don't they just leave? This is why. And for those of y'all who don't see, look, this is what she says. As a mental health nurse for 12 years, this is exactly what happens with complex PTSD. 100%. 100%. But anyways, they rekindled their relationship in February of 24. She flies to Miami about 3 times while he came to LA a few times. They didn't go out in public. She said that things had really hit the fan. By then, they kept their meetings private, but privately, Jane said the marathons resumed. The freak-offs, the hotel nights, whatever you want to call them. She estimated that between February and Combs' September 24 arrest, they had around 5 more hotel nights, most of them at Combs' Miami estate. Though they were no longer happening hotels, she testified that the encounters still involved male workers, substances, and coercion. She described this period as more of the same encounters. She called debauchery continuing even after the FBI raids in March. Then she said the last major turning point came on June 18th, 2024. She had flown back to LA from Miami a month earlier and hadn't seen Combs in person until that day. The night started like many others. Combs came over for a date night. His assistant helped Jane set up candles and decorations in the house. Jane testified that she and Combs spent time catching up in the backyard. They took photos and a short video, which the jury later saw. Music played in the background, and Combs could be heard talking. But Jane said that about 30 minutes after that moment, things turned dark. She testified that she confronted Combs about a woman she believed he had seen on a recent trip to Utah. She admitted that she was bottling up resentment and anger and said she eventually snapped. I called him a pedophile. She said, though she admitted the woman was over 18, she explained that Combs was 25 to 27 years older and the relationship rubbed me the wrong way. At one point, Jane said Combs bent over to tie a shoe and she shoved her head into the marble countertop. Shoved his head into the marble countertop, which, good for you, right? I ain't mad at her for this. He bent over to tie his shoe and she shoved his head into the marble counter. Good on her, right? Like, you know what? Bravo, Jane. Bravo. Anyway, she said that she gave it a good shot. Then she started throwing candles and glass, yelling, I hate you, over and over. Because I remember a lot of wax, but I don't remember striking him with the glass directly. But this is where things get really bad, y'all. And I think Jim Schmidt might be in TikTok. And if he is, he should listen to this. He can kind of provide a little bit of interest, a little insight on one of the things I'm going to talk about. Jim, if you're in here, let me know. As things escalated, she said she tried to get away from him and began to. Okay, he's here. So Jim, you'll know this is gonna sound very familiar to you to a degree. She says she tried to get away from him, began locking herself in rooms throughout the house, but Combs kicked down every door. First the bedroom, then the bathroom, then the closet. She changed clothes in the closet, planning to run. She said she needed something she could escape in. She's made it to the front door, but Combs caught her. She said he kicked me in the back of my thigh and I fell down. Then he picked me up in a chokehold and he choked me. She said that she was lifted off the ground on her tiptoes, gasping for air. She eventually squirmed free and ran barefoot into the night, hiding quietly outside by a wall so she wouldn't wake the neighbors. She said she waited there about 2 hours. Thinking he was gone, she eventually walked back toward the house, only to find Combs still there. Okay? Now, I want you to think what I can, and Jim can correct me if I'm wrong here with this. Isn't it like if you get choked by an intimate partner violence, isn't it what, Jim, 700 and something % chance that you're going to die at the hands of that person? If you get choked one time. This man puts his hands around her throat and lifts her up off the ground. All right. So now, when Jane entered the guest bedroom and locked the door, Combs kicked that in as well. She tried to fight back, throwing more candles. On the patio, she said she punched him in the temple. He responded by hitting her twice in the head, on my forehead and around my eye area. She ran to the backyard, balled up on the ground, and tried to cover her head. He started punching my head. He started kicking me. He was saying all kinds of things and just kept punching me. He said I was trying to take him away from his kids and his family. She said, I'm not, leave me alone. According to her, Combs grabbed her by her arm and hair, dragged her back into the house. Once inside, he forced her to listen to another woman insult her over a speakerphone while being held down. Jane yelled out that he was beating her, and he quickly ended the call. Later, he FaceTimed an assistant who told him to say there was no other woman on the Utah trip. Jane said that she went to shower and calmed down. When she looked in the mirror, she saw 2 golf ball-sized welts and a black eye forming. Combs got into the shower fully clothed. That's my train of thought. There we go. And stood outside the water. Jane testified that she told him she hated him. He slapped her 3 times across the face, eventually knocking her to the ground. She said that afterwards, Combs used her phone to watch adult content and started texting Antoine, one of the male entertainers they had used before. Jane saw her phone screen mirrored to the TV and realized he was arranging another freak off after he just beat the crap out of her. He takes her phone, watches adult content, and starts arranging another freak off. Like, I don't have words for that level of audacity. For what she just endured, all of that was in one session. The choking, the running out, kicking indoors, slapping her to the ground, punching her in the head. All of that was in one thing. And he's just out here arranging yet another freak off. She said, "We're not going to end the night like this," Combs said. You're not going to ruin my fucking night." That's what he said. That's what he said. Then he had injuries. So what did he say to do? He told her to put makeup on and cover the injuries with her hair. The same thing that he told Cassie to do. The same exact thing he told Cassie to do. Put on makeup, cover your injuries with your hair. She said she hesitated. He opened his hand to show her an ecstasy pill. Take this fucking pill. You're not going to ruin my fucking night. I don't want to. I don't want to. Is this coercion? Jane testified that she said nothing. He asked her if this was coercion, ironically, by the way. Sorry, I should clarify. She said she didn't want to. He said, "Is this coercion?" She said nothing. She just looked at him. Antoine shows up. She performs oral on him for what she would describe as felt like forever. And then eventually she slept with him while Combs watched. I love when people like Vamp Key over here, whatever. Vamp Kim. Are you really? I don't know if you're being serious right now. I'm going to call it. Alex, we're going to pause for a minute. Vamp Kim, are you literally a woman saying innocent until proven guilty on somebody like Sean Combs? Because you know that innocent until proven guilty is really a fallacy, right? Because if it was, you wouldn't sit in prison or jail while you await trial. You'd be out doing your best, living your best life. And here's the thing. He's not on trial for domestic violence, but even he's admitted it. So if you're defending an abuser, you need serious mental help. That's what I'll say to you. Okay, that's what you're saying. You need serious help. Get the fuck out of my life. We're not doing this. You're not going to come here and somebody who literally does what he does and sit in this live. You're not welcome. Leave. No, leave. Don't have to say anymore. Go. Anyways. Then in the aftermath of the brutal June 18th assault, she testified that she stayed in court in contact with Combs. Despite the violence, she recorded video clips around that time, which captured visible injuries, a welt on her forehead and bruising around her eye. Those clips were shown to the jury in court. She testified that she used makeup to cover her wounds, but they still showed through. In one video played in court, she called Combs her bestie. She explained that Combs said that she had always been best friends and that he was teasing him with the term, and we're going to do it because she's still going. So the person's name on Instagram, their username is Vamp, VAMPKIMGR, for anybody else on any platform who wants to go look her up, and feel free to explain your comments on her own page. Here's the thing. You are entitled to your own opinions. You are not entitled to your own facts. The fact that Diddy's own attorneys admit that he's a domestic abuser, that Diddy admits he is a domestic abuser, he's just not on trial for those things. Like I said, you've overstayed your welcome. Please leave. That's my last words to you. We're going to continue this on. Anyways, she testified that she used makeup to cover her wounds, but they still showed through. In one video played, of course, she called Combs her bestie. She explained that Combs had said they'd always be best friends and said that she was teasing him with the term. She also recorded a second video showing similar bruising. Both clips were verified by Combs, and Jane as authentic. When they showed bruising, even Combs verified that those were authentic. Jane testified that despite the injury, she kept in touch with Combs and even helped him cover up damage he caused to her house. 4 doors have been damaged during the attack. She said she sent $10,000 and $12,000 in cash via his assistant. She sent it. Oh, she said Combs sent $10,000, $12,000 cash via his assistant and security guard. She placed the cash in a bag, covered it with paper, and sent it off in an Uber. The jury saw a photo Jane took of the Uber's license plate, as well as the emails she sent to the door supplier inquiring about repairs, but she never followed through with fixing them. There were too many other bills to pay. He said that shortly after the June 18th incident, Combs went on a whitewater rafting trip to Wyoming with another woman. Jane was furious. We had just endured that kind of night. And in the midst of all that controversy and everything, he was still able to plan another beautiful vacation. She texted him angrily and believes that she broke up with him at that point. She then blocked both his phone numbers along with the numbers of all his assistants in security. A few weeks later, I forgot to be changing these things for you guys on things. So I got some more. Look at that picture forever. Here, we'll give you a couple of these. A few. Anyways, she blocked both his phone numbers along with the numbers of all of his assistants in security. A few weeks later, she reached out again after hearing Combs' mother had been hospitalized. She just wanted to make sure that she was okay. And then guess what? They began talking again. That opened it up. Jane then flew to Miami again in late July 2024 to meet Combs. After arriving on a red eye, they went to dinner, later stayed up all night, sleeping together and partying in a hotel. The next morning, James told Cole that she was tired, something he had previously told her she should vocalize. But when she did, his demeanor shifted. He called me names and threw water at me. Later, he apologized, saying she apologized to him too. The pattern of control and manipulation had taken hold. Just days before his arrest in September of 24, she received a message from him asking for explicit videos and urging her to fly to New York to see him. Did you go? No, because he was arrested. She confirmed to the court that Combs was in New York negotiating terms of his surrender when he was taken into custody on September 16th, 2024. She then testified before a federal grand jury in November of 24 under subpoena. She said that it was her first time speaking to investigators connected to the case. She had not reported Combs earlier because she was still processing that night and didn't want it to be a reality. She told the court that before testifying, the only other people she told about the June assault were Combs' defense attorneys and her own lawyer. She met with Combs' defense team as recently as April of 25 and admitted she did not feel legally obligated to do so, but went anyways because she still felt obligated due to their relationship. She said, I just asked myself, why am I doing this? And I realized the decision was fear-based. I didn't want to make someone mad. She said she no longer planned to meet with them. I wanted to honor what I wanted to do. I wanted to honor myself. Then, as U.S. Assistant Attorney Maureen Comey asked Jane how she currently felt about Sean Diddy Combs. She took a deep breath, and here's what she said. I just pray for his continued healing. I pray for peace for him. She confirmed that she has not filed any lawsuits against him and does not plan to. And that's where that's at. So, for anybody who came in late, listening to this, before I say a few other things real quick, because our guest never showed. I think she probably passed out and she was tired. But so tomorrow we'll have a guest who's physically in New York in the court, and we can talk about some of the stuff that's there. Not the person we had last time, rest assured. But if you came in late and you missed any of this, this is recorded on the Sean Diddy Combs playlist on YouTube. You can go back and watch it. All of these are recorded on these. But I will ask real quick is if you are following on any of the platforms watching this, please hit that follow button. If you can, it's something free and easy to do. That really helps me out tremendously. I'm showing you guys some of the slides for this. Other than that, y'all, it is late. I appreciate you guys showing up this late. There's a lot of y'all. There's 1,100 people here, another 123 on Insta, another 100 on YouTube, and I appreciate each and every one of y'all showing up, showing out, especially this late at night. We will be back tomorrow with more updates. We'll get some shorts done. There's a few other things that you guys need to hear and see and talk about that I just did not get a chance to put in today. But I suspect that tomorrow's testimony, I think that they're going to start getting into cross, and it's going to be pretty interesting. And we're going to see how defense handles this. Because here's the thing, guys, on this. This testimony that she did today is another very strong building block in the prosecution's case. with everything that's going on, the pattern of cycles, etc. And the fact that it matches Cassie as like a copy and paste is crucial to the way that prosecution is trying to handle this. And I'm very curious to see how defense handles her, given the way that they've handled some of the others. Is it going to be more like they handled Cassie, or more like how they handled Brianna Bonglin, or are we going to get some weird out of left field shock that that they're going to do a mistrial because of that one testimony from Brianna, which I don't think they will, because she's saying that she's not lying. It matches what she said. It matches what Cassie said. Anyways, guys, this stuff is important. So y'all are appreciating me covering this. I appreciate that y'all appreciate it, but this stuff's important to cover. You know, it's very heavy stuff to listen to. There's so many women who have experienced abuse throughout the entire spectrum, right? Not just of Diddy, but just people in these chats that y'all are watching and listening to this. And this type of stuff coming out, seeing the reality of what these people go through, the cycle of abuse, the way that they get a hold on you and you can't leave. This is putting this in the forefront, right? It's putting it right out in the front, right out for everybody to see and hear it. And yes, there are going to be people who sit out there and say, we're going to defend Diddy, or going to say, why didn't she leave? Who are going to say things that, trivialize what these women went through. Those people are always going to exist. But for a lot of people, you're really kind of seeing a side of this person that you knew he wasn't the best, but now you really kind of see what a monster he is. Even if he's not found guilty of racketeering and trafficking, which I think he will be based on what we've seen so far, unless something really drastic changes, you're really kind of seeing just how bad this is. And I think that for all of these women speaking up, even the ones who don't, if it helps one person go to the police and speak up against their abuser, then it was a win for these people doing this, right? If it saves one life, it's been worth it. So, if you are in one of these situations, there is resources out there to help. There are people out there to help. You don't have to stay into it. There are options out there. And I'm going to tell you right now, they do not change. They do not change. If they are somebody who can, the person they're supposed to love and care about and be with, and they can do something so brutal to them, they are not going to change. So if you're in that situation, strongly consider starting to make those things, the decisions, the moves to get out. That's my advice to you. This stuff is heavy. It's heartbreaking what these people went through, and these women are lucky to be alive. Thank you, Jim, for putting that up there. These women are lucky to be alive. That said, TikTok, don't go anywhere. Y'all have a great night. And we will see you guys tomorrow. Again, if you came in late, you can watch this on YouTube. And yeah, follow, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye, everyone.